everyone, welcome to another video review. This is the fantastic model FM-02 Margh, their version of an Masterpiece Ultra Magnus, which is also actually a FansToys release under a different name because of reasons. Go ahead and put them off the side real talk about that. Go ahead and put the truck off to the side real quick so we take a look at the box. Which, yes, the box here is a very FansToys-esque box, which is kind of like a Takara Tomy Masterpiece box, but you got the fantastic model logo right there instead. You got FM-02 Margh, you got a nice bit of artwork there in both modes. You got the 2024 made in China. You have on top here, you have FM-02 Margh and a warning. On the side here, you have FM-02 Margh and a QR code, which I think get video instruction, which hopefully mine will be better. Hopefully. You got FM-02 Margh there on this side as well. On this side, yeah, you got the same thing at the top with the warning and everything. On the back, you have, you know, a bit of some product shots and, hey, look, a bio if you want to read that at all. And the warnings and ages 15 plus because this is not made for children. And of course, inside the box along with the figures, the figure you get, of course, the instruction booklet, which actually a good sized booklet. Like, holy crap, there's a lot going on here. The booklet if you want that. As a whole, the booklet is mostly okay. There's definitely a couple spots where it's not super clear on what you're supposed to do. I'll say that much. A couple spots, nothing, it's not awful, but I've seen better, but I've also seen worse. And there's a little plastic collector's card, FM-02 Margh there. Again, nice little render, and hey, look at the picture of the tech spec stuff, and again, really, really tiny print for the bio there. Same one on the box. So, that's the stuff. So here's the figure in his truck mode because, yeah, it comes packaged in robot mode, but of course that will be seen in the transformation video. But since I have that transformation video, I'm going to go ahead and start with the truck mode, which it's an Ultra Magnus. It's the FansToys Ultra Magnus, but named Margh. By the way, I was kind of curious about Margh, the name Margh, and I found out apparently it's an old Celtic word that means horse. I guess, like, you know, horses can haul things or carry things, so a car carrier, sure. You know, yeah. So yeah, it's Ultra Magnus. You see the white cab with the red and blue car carrier back end, and yeah, you can see all that stuff. He rolls really nicely. He's got bright rubber tires and everything that you kind of would expect from a FansToys figure, and yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking about how I want to approach this because of the nature of him. A couple things. Yeah, you saw it earlier. This kind of popped off. Yeah, these kind of just go over a tab in this mode and doesn't go over super. It's not super secure. It does not take much to knock that off, like at all. Unfortunately, they'll go on much more securely in robot mode, but here in alt mode they are not super great. Yeah, I'm going to split this into two things. So the cab here, first of all, getting in close here, yeah, you can see it's pretty much a white semi-truck cab with, you know, pretty clean back end overall. You can see that. This is the gray from the core robots, and, you know, nice silver chromy gas tanks and wheels and everything. Chrome on the smokestacks, chrome on the grill here. Silver paint around the windows and the mirrors and everything. A bit of silver paint on the and some translucent bits on the headlights. The red bumper, of course. Blue windows. Overall looks real good. Underside's also pretty clean as well. Only thing, of course, we're getting rubber tires pick up all the crap that you rolled across, including on your review space, which you haven't, you know, maybe if you haven't cleaned it off in a few days. So that's fun. But yeah, generally, and of course you got taillights picked out. You know, you got yellow and red back there. Generally pretty clean cab. The only thing is sometimes this stuff, if you don't get it all perfectly aligned, it's going to be a little messy. But, you know, if you get perfectly aligned, then it looks not too bad. Yeah, so it's a pretty darn good looking cab overall. And also the nice thing is the doors do open. There's nothing there. I mean, yeah, there's just a big old bar in the way, but so you don't really have an interior. But hey, because of the transformation, the doors do open. That's pretty neat. So there's that. Now, as for the trailer, it's probably one of the weaker trailers I've seen for Ultra Magnus in general. You do have these can flip down, kind of, although they kind of catch a little bit right there. I'm a little worried about paint over time paint scuff. Yeah, those can flip down to, you know, can support itself without the cab attached. So there's that. As a whole, it's got some, places for cars to drive on. Although you can just see the exposed Ultra Magnus chest right there. Got some gaps in there. These undersides are hollow. Right here, this is also hollow. And this, because of how it transforms, unlike pretty much every Ultra Magnus I've ever owned, these they cannot turn into a ramp and go down. So you can't do the kind of, to drive a car up on top, or at least pretend. Nope, it's just these. The thing is, because these split apart for transformation, so they don't go down at all, which is a little unfortunate in my opinion. But yeah, it's definitely, I think overall, the weakest part overall of this entire figure is definitely the trailer mode. This is definitely the weakest part, and it is the compromise, I think, because yeah, again, this is the only masterpiece scale Ultra Magnus that has a core robot. Every other one is just the all-in-one transformation. So that was, I guess, the cost. But it looks okay. It's could have been done better, I feel, but in some way. But I feel that also might have been made it much even more complicated than it already is to transform. So there you go on that. Let me get this all reconnected back up. But yeah, generally though, it doesn't look too bad. It's just, I wish could have been done better. I just sit here wishing it could have been done better as a whole. Accessories in this mode, the gun here can kind of store. You put this in right here. There's these little bits right here will kind of notch in. There's little gaps right here. You can see them on the outside. There's ones on the inside too. You can just kind of line that up and actually I think it's this way. Yeah. Kind of line that up right there, and it just kind of rests right there. Like that. It's not amazing, but it'll rest in there somewhat. It's one way to do things. It's kind of, it's not ideal to say the least, but it will just kind of rest right there. Every other accessory is not gonna do anything here. So yeah, it's pretty much the vehicle mode as a whole. Without, well, almost. There's still some things to do. Some comparisons, I guess, because I'm going to do this all kind of in a weird thing. First thing is hauling on masterpiece cars. Can you do it? Well, that flips down. Although again, you can see not a real ramp. There is molding for kind of a ramp thing, but it's not really a good ramp. And also on top of that, because of how it transforms, this is kind of in the way. So you can only get the really low slung cars if you want to roll them up, and even then you can't really roll them up. Got a handful of masterpiece cars here. The Blue Streak, yeah, they'll fit up here. Kind of, again, you see right there though, just right in. It just kind of just catches on that. So you kind of have to just manually place these in somewhere, unfortunately. Side swipe here, he's low enough that I think he'll just barely fit, although he's a little wide. He'll just barely fit in there. You can see, yeah, it's the clearance is just barely there. So, yay! If you have the lower cars like say a side swipe, Sunstreaker, the lower slung cars, they'll definitely fit in there. Stuff like Blue Streak, probably Jazzes and whatnot will not fit in the back, so you have to watch out for that. As for the top, just to test this, here's how some wide ones. Here's Masterpiece RC. This is the official one, and a Hot Rod. Also the official one, which both just barely fit up there. They're kind of balancing, mind you, but they just barely fit. And it's mostly a balancing act though. So you can see it doesn't take much jostling to kind of get them all offset, but you can at least kind of fake it. You can't roll them on there. Hot Rod right here doesn't even fit in the back end just because of his spoiler, but that's always been a problem with Hot Rod. So yeah, his spoiler's so wide. So you can do it. It's just So yeah, there's also the comparison with these car modes. So your RC, Hot Rod, Blue Streak, side swipe. Again, these are all official Takara Tomy. I don't have any FansToys small car masterpiece cars. So is that get these guys out. Yeah, it's a little bit complicated getting these in and out just because. Yeah, this was very much not made with playability in mind. As for another movie bot, here's just, here's the, what was it? Those just came right off because, yep. Here's another movie bot. Here's a Robot Hero Airwolf. There's a Springer in helicopter mode, just to give you an idea there. I have X-Trans bots locked, but I don't want to transform that because it's already, the the metal's already horrifically, is already pretty horrific, so I'm not gonna do that at all. Here's MP10B, just for the cabs in particular. You can see that, you know, the cabs, you know, actually pretty similar, and pretty similar in size. So there's that. The cabs are pretty similar in size, and since this is pretty similar in size to MP44 and MP49, gives you an idea there. So it does pretty much scale correctly with the other truck masterpiece guys. And yeah, and of course one last comparison, which this is gonna be difficult because size. Here's the what the heck that happened? Here's the X-Transbots Ultra Magnus stack. Unfortunately, I don't have MP22 anymore. I did sell it. Between the two of them, at this in vehicle mode, just vehicle mode right here, I would say actually this is much more solid. The FansToys version here is much more solid feeling. It feels much more solid, other than the little missile pods. It feels much more solid overall, but this looks better in vehicle mode, overall. Although, thanks that. I know that. Because, particularly because this has a full, like, car ramp thing over the whole thing. This one does not. So yeah, overall, I feel like, yeah, the X-Transbots version looks better in vehicle mode, at least the trailer does anyway. But this feels more solid. This feels very flimsy, and like it feels like it wants to come apart at any moment, like it wants to untab itself constantly. At least, yeah, I'm finding that out anyway. I can't remember if I said anything about that when I first reviewed it, but yeah. So, also on top of that, you got these weird smokestack things, which, are all flimsy looking versus these are dead solid. So, I feel like overall, though, X-Transbots is slightly better looking, but FansToys feels more solid to hold. So, there's that. So, there's that comparison. Get this guy out of the way and don't fall apart on me. That's the vehicle mode. Overall, mostly solid. The trailer's a little bit of a letdown, but yeah, the cab's fantastic. Trailer's a bit of a letdown, but overall, solid effort. Wish there's more could have been done to make it better. But anyway, it's time to transform him into his core robot mode, just the cab part, because again, that was the thing they did. So I'm going to move that off, and we're going to go ahead and transform. We're going to transform this guy into the core robot. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. And yeah, that's the core robot in the transformation. The transformation itself is kind of tricky. It's not horribly so. I think a lot of people are kind of exaggerating how bad it is. But as a whole, the transformation is really not horrible. The biggest things I would say to watch out for would be the getting the arms from the back can be a little difficult. And sometimes these panels right here on the sides of the abdomen don't line up very nicely. But, or don't play very nicely. But there's also paint scratching issues, which I'll point out. You might even see one right now. But also mine, you might have seen it. I'm probably going to be showing the footage of it, which is... mine apparently has a QC error I didn't even notice, which is there's a couple screws holding this the grill right here. There's the grill for the truck mode is being held on by a couple screws. Then it just fell off, and I noticed there's only one screw, and that screw's not doing crap to hold anything. And I don't know how well you can see this, but this screw is really, really, really tiny, like really tiny. Oh. So yeah, it just fell out, and then the grill fell out, and I'm like, oh crap. So now I put a boatload of glue on it, hoping it'll hold in, because the screw is not holding it anymore. There's one missing apparently. I don't know if that fell out at some point, I didn't notice, or it wasn't there in the first place. Regardless, regardless if it fell out, that means it's not holding at all. So I'm not sure if that's a common problem or just mine. So keep an eye on that. But on that little slip up, yeah, the transformation is actually not too bad. Once you get used to it, it's actually not too bad. Again, the only thing really I would say is a little bit annoying is getting these little side abdomen pieces lined up nicely, and then also getting the arms out can be a little bit of a chore. Also, getting that panel itself, the one right there right here. Gone from this side to this side of the body is a little annoying, to say the least. Yeah, yeah, it looked really good. You can see there, it's generally looks really good. You got the it's a white Optimus Prime looking thing, like Core and Ultra Magnus was. You got the red eyes, you got blue crest, blue faceplate. You can see on mine, I'm not sure actually how it's coming off, but yeah, there's a paint chip right there on the edge of the faceplate. Unfortunately, that seems to be a pretty common problem with this guy. If you transform it a lot, eventually the paint starts to chip away here because how you put it there. Unfortunately, that just seems to be a common issue. But yeah, you got the blue tinted windows. You got green right there. You got some yellow, the green right there. You got some green there, and a little bit of green exposed on the thighs, and a little bit of gray. A little green again. Some paint chipping on mine on the edges there. Also, there's these red bits right here. Some people are annoyed by these. And I understand why they're there, though. It's basically because those will be exposed in the full Ultra Magnus mode. But unfortunately, again, paint chipping, particularly out of the box. This paint chip right here was already there on the box. This has just gotten worse. Me transforming it, but I kind of have to transform it so I know how it works so I can review it. And that's kind of an issue. But also, he's still got the red backpack. He also is you can see he's very thin in general. He's just kind of a thin guy. Also, you can see that little issue right there, which is... he doesn't seem to be able to stand up straight. Yeah, their solution for the feet for this guy is not very good, and hopefully when they do their Optimus, they fix that. Because, it's not... The feet are not good for this figure. I'll get into that a little... Because, yeah, it's just... You see that? It's just this thin plastic piece, right? It's just a thin plastic piece, and unfortunately, it's not good. The heels aren't good enough to hold the figure up, and... This reason why I have him in this stance is because I found that it's a somewhat natural stance, and when I get it in this stance, hey look, now he's kind of standing up properly. But yeah, if you have him like this, yeah, he's standing, but he is leaning way back. So again, so if you want him standing on the shelf in core robot mode, again, thighs, rotate 45 degrees out, bring his feet out a little bit, and yeah, what that does is puts just enough pressure here that the heels don't collapse. They don't really collapse as badly as they were, and now he stands a little bit better. It's not perfect, but it's a bit better than it was before. So yeah, and he still looks somewhat natural. He's still kind of action. Yeah, still looks somewhat of a neutral-ish, maybe it's a power stance is what he's doing. So hey, that's something to just be mindful of. It's just the heels kind of suck on the core robot. But articulation-wise, though, he does not suck. Head, it can go left and right there. You go up and down on a separate hinge right there. All that stuff. There's no waggle, unfortunately. Shoulders can do full rotation right there. You got a ratchet and a very squeaky plastic right there. There is no butterfly joint. Well, there's backwards butterfly a little bit, but no forward butterfly. There is a bicep swivel though, which is also ratcheted, but also because of the way he transforms and everything, it's a little off center. So when you get to certain extremes, it starts to look a little weird. Elbows, you do have that much curl, which is nice on a single hinge. The fists are on ball joints, which also I've seen that's a very common problem too, which is they're very loose on the core robot. You can see just how wobbly it is. Yeah, but it's ball joints, so you got that. The fingers, each finger has a knuckle at the base and a mid knuckle right there. 2 mid knuckles on this, then the pointer finger. Every other one has only 1 knuckle. Yeah, got that. And the thumb right here is on a ball joint plus a hinge, so got all that articulation right there. So that's that hand. Right here at the waist, you do have a ratcheted swivel, which is interesting in its own right. Ab crunch, there is one right there. It's a weird kind of lift up, and you kind of lift it up and bend it forward. If you want the full range, it's actually quite a bit of range too. That. As for the hips, of course, the hip skirts can get out of the way. If I can get my thumb into it, the hip skirts get out of the way on all sides. And you have forward that far and back that far outward. You got that far. You got a thigh swivel right there. That's just friction. Knees double jointed right there. Nice bit of metal in there as well for, I guess, structural stability. Right there. And down here at the feet, you do have ankle tilt. Although when you tilt the ankle, the heel tends to come out like that. But you do have ankle tilt, although you can bring the foot down a little bit. But yeah, it's tilting right there. It does, the toe goes down and a little bit up. The heel does this, and there's your lot for posability. Not bad. The heels still kind of are poop though, but hey, for most people, the fact that it's just basically the fact the core robot exists is enough. You're probably not going to even put. Most people are probably not going to leave him in the core robot. And as for accessories, in this mode, he's got 2. This will be in the chest in the box, but you have to take it out for transformation because it won't say. But yeah, he's got a matrix. It's got the blue crystal inside. And of course, you can open that up right there, the chest up, and open up this thing right here, there. And it somewhat locks in. It doesn't lock in super secure. You can see, it used to lock in. It was locking in, but yeah. Because this has to be open for the truck mode, well, you have to pull it out for the truck. So just something to be aware of. So yeah, but it does come in the chest when you have it. So if you're not, it's not missing. If you can't find it in the box, it's not necessarily missing. It's just probably in the chest. So that's one accessory. The other accessory is he has a gun, which, well, it's kind of cool because gun works for both modes. But for him, what you do is you pull out on this side, you pull out the handle here, and it'll click into place right there. And he's got, of course, tabs, and there's slots in the hands, and you just kind of slot it in, and he holds it. Only problem, of course, like I said, the ball joints on the hands are loose. Oh yeah, that's the other thing, I believe, because the ball joints, you got a little bit of wiggle there, but don't try to move it like, kind of forward or anything. That just pops off the ball joint, I know from experience. Also, I tried tightening these screws because, yeah, that didn't work at all. So, yeah, unfortunately, just the thing is, but he does, at least that tab is good and tight, at least on this hand, so he can hold his rifle pretty well. Although again, the problem is the hands are so loose in the joint that he just kind of winds up doing that a lot. So it doesn't look great when that happens. But oh yeah, the other thing was, almost forgot to mention this, the transformation stuff. Unfortunately, on the transformation, a lot of these parts are really tight, but thankfully a lot of the parts are too tight. There's screws all over the place, so if you find a part that's a little too tight, see if there's a screw you can adjust. I've loosened several screws, and it's made it a lot better because some of them are kind of scary tight. And like, this is a very small, thin piece of plastic with a very tight movement, and I'm kind of scared of it snapping. So I just kind of loosened the screws a little bit here and there just to make it a little better. And also, as I said there was 2 accessories. I actually should have said 3 because there's also his blue axe here, which, yep, it's well, it's translucent blue. It looks nice. And to put it on his hand, what you have to do is you have to put the hand away. So open the flap here, open that up, rotate that in. Make sure palm down into it so that the top of the hand is facing when you close it back up. And then there's this little peg hole right here, and there's a peg on the axe, and you just peg it in. Pretty straightforward. Holds pretty decently. It's not super secure, so if you mess with it enough, it will just pop out, but it will hold enough that it's gonna display nicely. So there you go on that. The axe looks pretty good as a whole, so there's that. Just gonna do that real quick. So unfortunately, there's really nowhere to store this stuff. A lot of this stuff. It's a big thing. Some of the accessories, like this is the one thing that can store, and that's only in the full truck with trailer mode. Everything else, nope, you just put it back in the box, I guess. Yeah, overall, that's the core robot. It looks pretty good. It's kind of weirdly thin, but, I guess some people say that's better than the official effort, but, hey. That's the core robot. Some comparisons real quick on this guy. Just show those off real quick. I'll just grab one of the Autobot cars. It seems one, guys. Anyway, here's a Sideswipe, just to give you an idea, because they're doing again. They've pretty much made it clear they're doing Optimus, so this is how big it'll be. I know FansToys car bots tend to be a bit taller than this. I think they're about up to here. So there's that's one comparison there. Here's Hot Rod, the official Hot Rod. Here's RC. All in the frame, hopefully. Here's a robot. Robot Hero Airwolf. Smacking RC in the head with a sword, and now she won't stand up because, of course, she won't. Stand, RC. You can do it. I believe in you. There we go. And again, here he is, even though I didn't have the car mode because I don't like transforming him. Here's X-Transbot's lock. Just give me some season 3 movie guys. And here's a FansToys version of Galvatron, just to give an idea there. Which yes, they're coming out with the 2.0 version of this. I'm not getting it because I'm perfectly happy with this one. I've seen it. It's fine. If I didn't already have this, I'd probably have bought it, but I have this one, so I'm fine with it. So I'm not buying the 2.0. And also just because, again, they're pitted off against each other a lot. Here's FansToys Quietus, their version of Cyclonus. It's pretty good. Of course, here he is next to MP49. So you get an idea how big it would be next to what that's official. Takara mold, which I think he's a smidge taller. Just a smidge. Just give you an idea there. FansToys seems to be working on this like 1.1 scale or something at this point. It almost feels like for Masterpiece. Like 1.1 Masterpiece scale, which is interesting. Yeah, they give an idea there. Also, yeah, again, the whole thin versus thick thing. Because remember, in the animation, Optimus is often pretty thick, so give you an idea there. So there's that. And I suspect some people are going to want to display them like this, so just for the heck of it, here's the X-Transbots version of Ultra Magnus. Here's Stack. To give you an idea here, what that's like between the two. Yep, let's give you an idea there. Height difference and all that. I suspect some people might want to do something like this, so just here's something to check out, just, just in case you're kind of, one of the weird people who like me are kind of trying to decide between the two of them. So there you go. So that's it for the core robot. I'm going to go ahead and get him transformed into the, get ready to, the full robot with armor and everything. So here we go. I'm going to get this out of the hand to do so, but yeah. All right, so that is this is the fully combined, well, Margh. And yeah, it's a good looking Ultra Magnus. You got the very nice shiny, it's very shiny metallic blue paint. It's really good looking. Yeah, you got the red, you know, all the reds and blues and whites and everything. It looks real nice. Yeah, he just looks really, really nice overall. And just, yeah, he hides the... I mean, you can still see there's a robot, you know, bit underneath, but honestly, that's kind of fine. I mean, considering it's Ultra Magnus, you know, him having a bit extra robot stuff underneath the exterior is, well, perfectly acceptable for a lot of people. So, he just looks really nice, honestly. In general, he just looks really good. One thing I did not mention earlier with these things, which is these rocket bits, these actually can come out. They actually are shaped like missiles, and you think maybe there'd be like a firing mechanism or something. No, they're just, they can be removed if you want, I guess, to pretend they fired, but you can't actually shoot them at all. So if you're hoping for that, yeah, no, FansToys doesn't do playability. That's not the FansToys way. There we go. He was leaning forward a little bit. That's not the FansToys way. You don't do playability, you just make it look good on the shelf. Yeah, so yeah, but anyway, which way, he looks really good, and he does look really good overall. It's just, hey, he does look like an Ultra Magnus. He comes together real well. Everything looks great. Again, it's a FansToys figure, so unfortunately, by playing with it, you actually cause, well, slowly cause paint scuffing and whatnot, which is a bit of a issue. But yeah, I'm not really sure what you can do to fix that. But yeah, looks real nice overall. As for posability, he does kind of still have some of the same stuff, but yeah, his head's still left and right. This new head, it's left and right. You can move up and down right here, which is nice. So that's that. Nice ratcheted shoulders right there, forward and back. Outward is the weird one. A lot of people are not really thrilled with how this works, but you got that, and you also have these clicks as well, and there's another click right here. So you do have quite a bit of outward. It's just going to look a little weird when you start going to the extreme, so just be mindful of that. But that's his outward posability. Yeah, that's just came out because yeah, the ratchets are pretty strong. That's the outward posability. You do have a bicep swivel, which is just friction on this side. This side is really loose too, so this one's fine. This one's just kind of loose in general. So I don't know. Also, in this arm wants to, you can see that arm wants to just go out. You can hold it back, but it doesn't take much to pop for it to pop itself back out, so that's a little annoying. Elbow, you do have that much bend, which is real nice. You got a little bit of exposed detail right there. Not really detail, but exposed hinge, I guess. And also you can see like how that works. That you know, just kind of sinks in right there. The hands, you know, you got rotation right there. There's a little bit of wiggle, thanks to the fact it's a ball joint. And the hands themselves, the fingers. You got the thumbs on a ball joint right there. There's a hinge right there and a hinge right there as well. So you got that and that. Each finger has a, you know, hinge at the base, so, you know, they're individual too, so you got all that. There's another, you know, then each one also has another 2 hinges mid-knuckle, so you got that hinge and that hinge for every single finger. Plus, there's a smidge of splay. Not a lot of splay. I mean, this one doesn't really move, although it should. A little afraid to try to push it. I think what's happening is catching on this other finger, so I don't want to break it, but yeah. You do have splay. You do have some degree of splay, which is nice. As for waist articulation, you have to untab the top from the bottom, because these tab in, these are for mostly for the truck mode, but you have to untab that first to get the waist articulation. Then you got a bit of ratcheting, well, not that much. You only get that much waist articulation before it stops because of how it works. Ab crunch, you still have it, but it's a little lesser than the core robot. There's still a decent amount. So you do have all... Come on. That. And as for, well, hips are pretty much the same as the hips are pretty much the same as the core robot, although you have a little less backwards. But yeah, you got forward that far and back that far, and outward you have the full splits. You still have the thigh swivel. You still have the double jointed knees. Still have a decent amount of range considering how big these boots are, which is nice. And down here at the feet, you do have ankle tilt, which, you know, does all that, just like looks like that. And you can, hey, look, there's the inner foot. But yeah, there's no other articulation down here. There's no rotation or forward and back or anything. That's just how it is. So yeah, you get some posability is removed, unfortunately. Oh, there is a butterfly as well. It's gonna kind of, thanks to it transforms, there is a little smidge of butterfly, but you really don't get a whole lot, and I'm worried about that's actually stressing something, so just be aware of that. So that's articulation. As for accessories, he's got quite a few. One, of course, the gun, again, which this is different now for him. What you do is you fold this back in, collapse that, and then right here, there's a handle in the middle. There's a little notch here, which you're supposed to be able to get that out, but a little difficult sometimes. Sometimes I have to do that. Yeah, get that out right here, and then here, look, this little tab here, you basically you can switch it to either side, which is pretty cool. You know, so you can put it on either side, and of course you got a slot in his hand, and we'll just slot that in. And he holds it. There you go. And again, the tab's pretty solid, and unlike the core robot, this is not really loose, so hey, it looks much better overall when he holds it like that. So hey, there's that. That's one accessory. He does have, yeah, you can still, you know, the matrix is in there. You can still open it. All these, you're supposed to open this blue part first. It's easier, I've noticed, to just open the sides first and then open the center part. And yeah, you can then get in there and, yeah, open that all up, and that's real loose for some reason. You can still open all that up, and hey, look, there's the matrix chamber. So there's that, which is, you know, still pretty cool that it's all in there. Also, what's cool, he has a translucent red windows right here, but, you know, sometimes he doesn't have those, so they included alternate pieces, which those are pretty simple to swap out. They're just pegs, so they're just pegged in, you know, so real simple to swap. You can see, you know, the difference between the two right there. But yeah, it's just it is a really simple peg, you know, unpeg, repeg, done kind of system going on. So there you go on that front. Now, he also includes several alternate pieces for the face. Well, he's got multiple alternate faces. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 alternate faces beyond this one. This one is the default, which is just kind of his very stoic, you know, don't have time to deal, you know, can't deal with that right now. The thing is, the alternate faces come on sprues, 2 separate sprues. You got this one for the actual faces and this for the actual eyes. And the reason for this, apparently, this is not them cheaping out like a lot of people cynically thought. No, what it is apparently they say that the problem is they've been at issues where people are getting duplicate or missing faces with their figures. So we'll just solve that problem outright by basically making sure that, well, they're all there when they go in the box. So there you go. So you got multiple faces, including, let's see, kind of a big grin, got an open mouth frown, a shouting face, a kind of snarling, sneering face, and an alternate version of this face, which is kind of neutral, except the eyes are slightly bigger. So you got to pay attention when you snip the eyes off, that one set of eyes is slightly bigger than the other, and that goes with this face. And swapping it out is pretty easy. You just lift the head up and get on. What you actually get to do is you get to get the head off of here like this. That makes it a little easier. Then you can split this right here. The instructions, by the way, the instructions tell you to slide that up. No, don't do that. That's pegged in. So pull the whole thing off like that. Then you get the face off, and then you can swap it with any other face like that. Oh, I got the sad face. Put that back on, and then voila. Now he's upset about something. More upset than usual. And he also has an alternate head entirely, which is this one, which is kind of based on that one bit of artwork, you know, to have torn apart Ultra Magnus. So you got this, you know, his growling face there, and you got the you know, half of the prime head right there, and that's, again, just easy to swap. Just, you know, slide that off, slide that on. I guess you could just, you know, do something about the armor stuff, but yeah. It's unfortunately, the fake's kind of muted by the fact that it's only the head and none of the rest of it, but there you go. It's kind of neat, but I don't really care about something like this personally, so there we go. Can't deal with it right now. Yeah, overall, really nice looking robot. Really good looking robot. Nice bit of accessories here. Nothing. That is styrofoam. Thanks, FansToys. Yeah, not a whole ton of accessories, but enough to, I think, keep a lot of people satisfied and whatnot. And so there you go. So some comparisons, because yep, it's that time again. An Autobot car. Here's Sideswipe with his dangly gun because he's never been able to hold his gun properly. He's never been able to. Here's with Sideswipe, the official Sideswipe right there. Once again, the a lot of movie cast. Here's Hot Rod. Here's Hot Rod. Here's RC. Here's Airwolf. And here's Locke. X-Transbot's Locke, but yeah. Not bad, I think. Not bad at all. Here's the next FansToys version of Galvatron. So. And here he is with Quietus. Again, I think that's pretty good overall. Here he is with MP49. Give you an idea there. Grows quite a bit. And of course, here he is with X-Transbot's stack. Get them side by side here. And yeah, funny enough, I think FansToys version is just a smidge taller. That's really interesting. I did not realize that till just now. Now, as for proportions and whatnot, you got that weird thing going on, which, yeah, they kind of has, you can see this is a little chunkier looking. He's got some more heroic proportions in some ways. But he's not slouchy either. Some people, it just kind of comes down to stuff like how big you want the shoulders, or blah, blah, blah. One of the big things, like choosing between the two, because he has, kind of the 2 of the 4 big masterpiece Ultra Magnus choices, the other 2 being the official MP22 and the old KFC Citizen stack, which is very stylized, so kind of not really on anyone's radar. Between the 2, which one should you get is the kind of the question that a lot of people have, and it kind of depends. A couple things. One is, do you want the all-in-one transformation? Do you want the inner core robot with an outer armor thing? You want the core robot that's armored up. That's the kind of the thing. Do you want, which one of those things do you want? That's going to be the big choice right there. As for looks, you can see right here side by side. It kind of depends what you want. Both these things are like, it's that thing of both these things are accurate to different appearances on screen. So you got that going on. And so you got that. Beyond that, personally, transformation wise, technically X-Transbots is the simpler transformation, but because you got a lot of parts like flopping all around when you're transforming, you got stuff flopping everywhere when you're transforming, the arms are flopping around when you're trying to get rid of the legs and everything. I generally actually enjoy the FansToys transformation a bit more, even though I think it's technically more complicated overall. It's much more fun because you don't have a whole bunch of stuff flopping about, versus this flops around a lot until you get it all locked in. This is pretty solid and doesn't feel as frustrating in that degree, so it technically is more complicated, but I feel like it takes longer to transform the X-Transbots version just because I'm constantly fighting this stupid thing to get into place. I'm trying to get everything into place properly, and it's just not cooperating. So yeah, between the two, I personally prefer the FansToys version, but you may have a different thing going on there. But yeah, those are your 2 options regarding these 2, regarding third party, I guess, screen accurate Ultra Magnuses. And unfortunately, again, like I said, I sold off MP22 already. So yeah, that is as a whole fantastic model Margh. Yeah, that's fantastic model Margh as a whole. Overall, I think he's a pretty good figure. You gotta watch out for paint scratches when transforming it, unfortunately. Mine, the grill just came off just during this recording this. That was a kind of surprise. I did not realize that was even a problem until just now, which kind of sucks, unfortunately. And I'm not sure what I can do about that. I just try to glue it, and hopefully the glue won't destroy anything in the process. But the screw, there's one lone screw that wasn't doing its job, unfortunately. That might just be a one-off error, but also might be a common problem. I don't know yet. Transformation overall, again, it's complicated, but I kind of find it fun. FansToys transformations tend to be complicated for the most part, but this one is one of their better efforts, I feel. It generally feels like they actually thought about, the flow of the transformation. So it's actually kind of more or less fun. The only thing is the core robot, the arms can be a little fiddly. the arms can be a little fiddly, and some parts, like again that central grill part, can be a little bit frustrating, get spun around in any mode. But other than that, it's actually pretty clever. The truck mode definitely suffers the most. The trailer in particular. The cab is fine. The cab is great, and it's going to, I think, make a great Optimus Prime when they do that. But the trailer definitely suffers because you can just see that it was heavily compromised for the sake of being able to, be armor for the full robot. And it's definitely compromised, and that's going to rankle some people, I think. Most people I think a lot of collectors aren't going to be super upset by that, but it is something you might want to consider. But it does lock together very solidly, which is much better. It's much better than the X-Transbots version, I want to say. So that's all, really. It's generally really good. The thing is, the price, it is kind of like in the neighborhood of $230-ish, somewhere in that neighborhood, if I recall correctly. He's not cheap. He's more expensive than the X-Transbot version, because that was $190 initially. I believe they dropped the price to like $150, probably because, this was coming, because, well, X-Transbots is in that weird war with FansToys here. But at $230, he's got a lot of die-cast, which is important. I know is important for a lot of people. I think he fills out the price point. He's solid. Oh yeah, and of course the other thing is that sucks is the core. The core robot has the crap heels. They're just crap, and you have to kind of get them to very specific poses for them to not be crap or just be okay. But that's another problem. But 230, I think he's pretty solid overall. He's got his problems, I think, but he's also fun. He generally looks good. And some of the problems can be mitigated. Some of them you just kind of have to live with. Again, if you transform a lot, he's going to scratch. The paint's going to scratch a lot. But I like him. I don't regret it. Now I'm sitting here trying to struggle. Like, I also like X-Transbots' version, right? I do like that. I do like that one too. So now I have to make that choice of which one do I want. Because I don't really need 2 Ultra Magnuses in my MP shelf. So I have to make that choice now. And I'm kind of struggling with that. It's like, ooh, I really like both of them, so I don't know which one. I will say, I think I'm leaning towards the FansToys version right now, but I don't want to, I don't want to have it just be just because it's the new one, but it's good. It really is genuinely good. If you don't have an MP Ultra Magnus yet, or you really want one that's the core robot, there you go. But it will cost you over $200, so there's that to consider as well. So, yeah, that's my long rambling thoughts on this guy. He's great, but he does come at a price. So that's it for this review. I hope you found it informative and entertaining. I hope you like, comment, subscribe. Check out my social media. It's down in the description and at the end of the video. Check out my Ko-fi and my Patreon. And I shall see you next time with another video review.